There's a strange truth about highly intelligent people that most of society misunderstands. While many measure happiness and success by the size of their social circle, their ability to constantly be surrounded by people and the number of friends they collect over the years, intelligent individuals often choose a very different path, a quieter path, a lonelier path. And it's not because they can't have a social life, it's because they simply don't care for one. Today we're going to dive deep into the mind of Arthur Schopenhauer, a man who saw through the illusions of human interaction to understand why intelligence often leads to solitude, and why that's not something to fear, but something to embrace. Schopenhauer believed that most people live life in a sort of dream state, chasing pleasure, attention, and validation from others, rarely pausing to reflect on what truly matters. To him, the constant social chatter, the never-ending desire for company, was more about escaping oneself than enjoying genuine connection. He famously said, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. If he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom." This statement reveals everything you need to know about intelligent individuals and their relationship with social life. They are not running away from people, they are running toward themselves. For the highly intelligent, solitude is not loneliness. It is liberation. It's the ability to think deeply, create freely, and live authentically without the noise of superficial interactions. The average person seeks distraction because being alone means facing their own thoughts, their own flaws, their own emptiness. Intelligent people, on the other hand, don't fear that confrontation. They seek it. They know that their growth, their understanding of life, and their ability to find meaning depend on that inner dialogue that can only happen when the world goes quiet. Schopenhauer observed that most human interactions are transactional. People gather, talk, gossip, flatter, and pretend. Friendships and social circles are often driven not by truth, but by convenience, self-interest, or the desire to escape boredom. Intelligent people see through this game. They know that true companionship, built on honesty, shared values, and depth, is rare. Instead of filling their lives with empty connections, they prefer the clarity of solitude over the confusion of false relationships. And when you recognize this, the desire for constant social activity naturally fades. But let's be honest, society doesn't like people who step away from the crowd. We live in a world that idolizes networking, popularity, and being socially active. We're told that being alone is a problem, a sign of failure or inadequacy. Intelligent individuals challenge that narrative simply by existing differently. They show that you don't need to be everywhere with everyone to live fully. In fact, the opposite may be true. You live more authentically when you're selective about where you spend your energy and with whom. Schopenhauer believed that socializing often meant compromise. It required you to wear masks, to conform to expectations, to pretend to care about trivialities just to belong. For a thinking person, this constant performance feels suffocating. Why waste hours talking about nothing, laughing at jokes that aren't funny, or agreeing with opinions you don't respect, when that time could be spent exploring ideas, building something meaningful, or simply enjoying your own company? The intelligent mind values depth over breadth, substance over noise, quality over quantity, and that applies to relationships as much as it does to knowledge. Another reason why intelligent people distance themselves from social life lies in their heightened awareness of time. They understand, far more deeply than most, that life is finite. Every moment spent in hollow interactions is a moment that could have been invested in learning, creating, or experiencing something real. To someone who values time as the most precious resource, trivial socializing feels like theft, a slow erosion of life's potential. Now, this doesn't mean intelligent people hate everyone or despise human connection. Quite the opposite. They treasure real bonds when they find them. A single true friendship, one built on honesty, mutual respect, and shared vision, is worth more to them than 100 shallow acquaintances. But such connections are rare, and until they find them, they're perfectly content walking alone. As Schopenhauer suggested, it is difficult to keep quiet if you have nothing to say. Many choose silence not because they have no words, but because they refuse to waste them on ears that don't truly listen. And there's another layer to this. With higher intelligence often comes a greater sensitivity to the world's absurdities, its injustices, hypocrisies, and constant noise. The intelligent person can see the masks people wear, the games they play, the falsehoods they cling to, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It becomes exhausting to engage in it. So you retreat, not out of arrogance but out of self-preservation, a need to protect your clarity of thought from being diluted by nonsense. Yet, ironically, this withdrawal from social life often leads to deeper understanding and eventually greater influence. Many of history's great thinkers, writers, scientists, and innovators spent large portions of their lives in solitude. It was in these quiet spaces, free from distraction and expectation, that they produced work that transformed the world. Schopenhauer himself lived a life detached from the bustling social scene of his time, yet his writings on human nature, suffering, and wisdom continue to resonate centuries later. So what does all of this mean for you? If you've ever felt different, preferring your own company over crowded rooms, choosing books over parties, valuing thought over small talk, maybe you're not antisocial, maybe you're not broken, maybe you're simply awake in a world that sleeps with its eyes open. Intelligent people don't ignore social life because they can't have it. They ignore it because they've seen through its illusions. Schopenhauer's message is clear. Solitude is not a curse, it is a sanctuary. It is where you meet yourself, where you stop performing for others, and where you start living on your own terms. Intelligent individuals know this instinctively. They are not afraid of the silence because in the silence, they hear truth. And while the world may call them loners or outsiders, in reality, they are simply free. Free from the constant need for validation, free from meaningless distraction, free to live fully in alignment with their own nature. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't rush to fill the space with noise or company for the sake of appearances. Instead, ask yourself, am I truly missing out, or am I finally stepping into the freedom that only solitude can offer? Schopenhauer would say, and intelligent people know, it's the latter. In a world obsessed with being seen, the wisest among us understand the power of simply being.